Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're doing well today. We've got a story that's both dramatic and deeply human, and it involves a name you'll definitely recognize, former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani. Now, whether you see Giuliani as a hero, a controversial figure, or maybe a bit of both, what happened to him this past weekend is something that will make you stop and think. So, picture this. It's late Saturday night, August 30th, in Manchester, New Hampshire. Giuliani, at 81 years old, is driving a rental car down Interstate 93. Suddenly, he's flagged down by a distressed woman. She claims she's a victim of domestic violence and needs help. And here's the thing. He doesn't ignore her, he doesn't drive past, he doesn't assume someone else will stop. Instead, Giuliani pulls over, calls 911, and stays with her until the police arrive. Just imagine that for a second. How many people, especially someone of his age and public profile, would have done the same? Would you have stopped in that situation? But then comes the unexpected twist. After turning to his car and continuing his drive, Giuliani's vehicle is struck from behind at high speed. The crash leaves him seriously injured. Reports say he suffered a fractured vertebra, multiple cuts and bruises, and injuries to his arm and leg. He was rushed to a trauma center in Manchester, and thankfully, despite the seriousness of it all, he was alert and conscious when doctors began treating him. His team has said he's in good spirits, and most importantly, that this was not a targeted attack, just a terrible accident. Now, let's pause here. Life has this strange way of turning acts of kindness into moments of vulnerability. Giuliani stopped to help someone in need, and only minutes later, he was the one needing help. Doesn't that make you think about how quickly things can change? One moment you're offering protection, and the next moment, you're the one relying on it. Doctors expect Giuliani will need a back brace during recovery, and he's likely to stay in the hospital for several days. His longtime partner, Maria Ryan, who's also a healthcare professional, is by his side, and his son Andrew Giuliani has asked for privacy for the family while he heals. Support has been pouring in from across the country, from political allies, friends, and even people who don't always agree with him. And honestly, that part is kind of refreshing. It shows that sometimes, beyond politics and disagreements, people can rally around a moment of humanity. And think about the bigger picture here. How often do we hear stories of public figures stopping to help strangers in distress? In a world where so many people are glued to their phones, rushing from one place to another, and sometimes afraid to get involved, this story cuts through the noise. Giuliani's decision to stop probably changed that woman's night, maybe even her life. Would you have pulled over if you saw someone flagging you down in the middle of the night? Or would fear, or maybe even indifference, have kept you driving? This story also raises another important point. Acts of compassion sometimes come with real risks. Giuliani could have ignored her, stayed safe, and kept driving. Instead, he chose empathy, and it ended up putting him in harm's way. That doesn't make it any less admirable, but it does remind us that bravery isn't always without consequences. At 81 years old, Giuliani has lived through some of the most intense chapters of American public life. From being praised as America's mayor after September 11th to becoming a controversial figure as Donald Trump's lawyer, he's seen it all. But in this moment, the labels and politics fade away. What stands out is a man who, despite everything, chose to help someone who needed it. And isn't that something we can all learn from? So, as Giuliani recovers in the hospital, we're left with questions that go beyond him. How do we respond when strangers need us? What risks are we willing to take to protect someone else? And maybe most importantly, are we still capable of putting compassion before convenience? Stories like this one are powerful because they remind us of our shared humanity. They cut through the headlines, the controversies, and the noise, and they leave us with something to think about. So, what do you think? If you were in Giuliani's shoes, would you have stopped to help? Or would you have kept driving? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for spending some time with me today and diving into this story. If you found it thought-provoking, make sure to give this video a like, share it with a friend, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more stories and discussions just like this one. Take care of yourselves, and I'll catch you in the next video.